Hello and welcome back to Here's the Piece, the after show for Peacemaker Season 2 on Here's the Thing. I'm your host, Tristan, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Ari. How are you feeling, Ari? Are you ready to discuss this episode of Peacemaker?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited to talk about another, just leading on the road, just more setup for these last three, which are really, in a way, the first three. This is what they're hyping up. And it was good. I think so. I don't think the way James Gunn months ago, or maybe a year ago, described that, Rick Flagg and Peacemaker meeting, not as he made it sound like to be like the bloodiest, most violent, epic fight ever. And we'll talk about it. But it was a good episode, I think, overall.
This was the fifth episode. It was called Back to the Suture, or Suitor.
Yeah, Back to the Future. Yeah.
Pun on Back to the Future. There was not a lot of Back to the Future happening in the episode. I was waiting for a lot of time travel to happen, but we'll see. We'll see if there was some maybe hints at something to come in the future. We'll see, and we'll get to the theory section. Yeah, but like you said, it was a pretty good episode. I didn't think it necessarily put things super far along in the storyline. It didn't really advance the character arcs, but it brought them to, like we were talking about last week, kind of the point where we're going to be getting that finale, right? It put them in the exact spot for this final arc, right? And I think it made sense to get them where they are at. I don't know if these last 3-4 episodes in a row, honestly, it felt like you could have merged them down to be two episodes and saved us some time.
That's what I was about to say. This episode and last episode should be one episode. There's no reason you need to another 36-minute episode. Just combine these. They're oh, it has to be 8 episodes. Well, it actually doesn't. There's no reason it has to be 8 episodes.
And it can be 8 episodes. Just give us more episodes in the later part of the season that's supposedly so incredible. Give us a couple more of those episodes. But yeah, I still thought it was a pretty good episode. We'll go through it scene by scene, but I thought it was pretty solid. I'm definitely hoping that these next 3 they're hyping up so much live up to the hype, though. Otherwise, this is going to be a disappointing season. But at this point, I'm enjoying it. But they've got to really pay off. Otherwise, I'm going to be leaving here disappointed.
Yeah. The first scene is the funeral scene, which
Rick Flagg shows up at the funeral for his son. He's recruiting Harcourt to be his woman on the inside to get the man who killed his son and make him pay. What do you think of this scene?
I really like this scene. I really like Jennifer Holland. I think she really sold that. I like Frank Grillo. I like Frank Grillo, but I don't think Frank Grillo is the greatest actor in the world. He's not Shakespeare. He does his job well, but I honestly think Joel Kinnaman is maybe a significantly better actor. But it's a really good scene. Does that really good setup? I think that it's very clear though that they did not plan this stuff when they wrote the first season. We have a new DC universe. We have to do some sort of retcons, put something in here that wasn't there before.
I'd be curious to watch it again and see if there's even one little line that James Gunn can point to and be well, this kind of tease it. I could see there being something in there that it can point back to and be there was some line about a history or something like that, but it doesn't seem so.
Yeah, I mean, I just rewatched Peacemaker Season 1. I don't recall anything at all that set that up, and it's fine. Retcons happen. You add things in all the time, and I think it works. It's pretty obvious that was not.
And I think it does add to the character. It adds an element of you understand why she's so hesitant to be with Chris and why she's put up such a wall with him specifically. Even among all her friends, he's one that she has an extra level of a barrier up. And it's not just the typical woman who is cold and doesn't like the man. She actually has something behind that's making her that way. And I think that is interesting.
And one thing I've really liked about the season is how some shows, when they have the theme song, it just goes to the theme song. But some shows, and I like it when they do this, where they start the theme song 2-3 seconds before you go into it, and they do this here, and the transitions are really good. Here it was after she's sitting down after he leaves, and you can see in her that she's very not happy and she's very mad.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen when she sees, because she's heading off to the alternate universe at the end. She's going to see Rick Flagg Jr. She's going to see her dead boyfriend alive and well with her. Is she going to go live in that woman's life? Is she going to swap places with her? And like live that dream life for a second of being with her ex
Yeah,
and
what if
having
she
everything she
goes to
wants, just
work?
like Peacemaker.
And it looks like in the trailer she is going to Arcus. Like, so what does she do? What's gonna happen there? Like, there you see them escorting her. They're like, "Here, come with us." She gonna see Rick Flag and be like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And then he just looks at. I'm sure it's gonna be a comedic moment too, right? Like she's walking down the hallway and then she sees him. It's like that Zoolander moment. He's just looking at her like, "What the hell is going on?" I'm curious. To me, what's surprising is I would have figured that we wouldn't see the gang following him there until maybe episode 7 or even the finale. So I'm surprised and interested, honestly, that they're going there right away. Like,
Yeah, they said that this is essentially these last three are like a movie, so it seems like the movie is going to be the adventure of them going to the universe and trying to get him back. So I think it's going to be very cool to see how that kicks off. And I'm glad we didn't have to wait that long because them going off to get him was in like the this season on trailer, right? So I don't want that to be in like the last episode.
I'm curious what happens with them. Like, they'll try to get him back at first, and then he'll say no, and then what are they doing on this earth? And like, that's to me what's interesting. Who are they going to run into, right? Like, are they going to run into Adebayo? Are they going to run into Waller? Maybe in this world, one of them exists, Waller and Adebayo, but the other one died or something. Like, maybe
yeah, and it's very curious. We haven't actually gotten the full reveal of like, is this other universe like a fascist Earth, a racist Earth? There's been no black people anywhere on that Earth, right? So when they show up, is she going to be the first black person ever to be seen in the city? You know, how are people going to react when she shows up?
What if black people straight up don't exist in this world? Like, they never existed, and then she shows up and like, wait, why does this person look like that? What is going on?
Yeah, I'm very curious because I was thinking we would get the reveal of the like nefarious nature of that universe earlier than we're getting it, but it seems like it's going to come like next week, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
After that, we'd catch up to the present now. Chris shows up to that sting operation that was set up at the last episode. All the characters are kind of colliding in this one spot to try and get Chris. Harcourt is supposed to be his bait. He says, "I'm only here to kind of ask if you truly cared about me," and she gives him kind of like a non-answer and says, "No, I was drunk. I didn't mean what I said, and now you're fucked for showing up here. Why'd you got to do this?" And then she put herself in harm's way, ends up letting him get away.
Yeah. My first thought watching the scene is that very, very, very bizarre right now seeing a character with a sniper like that. Like, Jesus, like things like that just happen in the world. You just got the worst timing in the world. It happens all the time. It's like that episode of Breaking Bad. Like, how does the universe happen like this? Like, it just coincidences just happen, but absolutely insane coincidence. And I really like this scene. I don't know how to feel about the character of Judo Master. Like, he's just there, I guess. Like, he's kind of funny here and there, but like, why does he exist? Just to be another funny thing, I guess. Like, they could have just introduced a new character, but then they brought back this character that wasn't that memorable. Like, I really like season 1, but I'm not like, oh shit, Judo Master, they need to bring him back. Oh my god, James, please. Like, he was fine, you know? But what do you think about Judo Master?
Yeah, I wasn't really sold him coming back at all in this season. He's fine character, but he's never really been that funny to me. And at this point, it seems like he's kind of just a one joke character. It's like, oh, he's a character who just sits around and eats chips and doesn't really take what he's doing seriously. And that's kind of the whole bit. But I do think this thing at the end where he's seeing the alternate universe open up and he's ready to walk into it. And like, I'm curious to see what an alternate universe version of Judo Master looks like and what is his reaction to this other universe. And that could be interesting because that could be like the whole reason James Gunn brought him back is because he had an interesting idea for an alternate universe Judo Master and he had to have him be here to make that happen or something like that. So seeing Judo Master end up actually tying into this larger plot with Peacemaker is not what I expected. And I never thought he'd be the one to go with him in that portal at the end. So that's a really interesting twist on the character that I'm thinking they have something planned for him with that.
Yeah, I mean, talking about like when they see a black person, what is this like? Judo Master is not white either. So how are they gonna react to that if there's no only white people there? Are they both gonna like maybe they try to lock both of them up, but then Judo Master actually saves Adebayo? Like the cops are coming, and we see an epic fight scene where Judo Master just like takes out 20 police. Can you imagine that? Like Argus is arresting her for not being white, and Judo Master just like murders them all. But yeah, I like that scene. I'm not sure. Like you said, I think it was you who said like why they need all these people in the park like this. I'm not sure why that's necessary. Um, but I like Tim Meadows. I really like how they're continuing this joke. Like a lot of it doesn't even make sense. Like in The Office, why is he not mad at Steve Agee? Shouldn't he be mad at him? I guess he's not. I guess it's just a funny bit. But I really like the scene. I really like that Peacemaker is running around and he's trying to hide behind everything. Like he just starts petting all those dogs. I thought that was great.
Yeah, it was a funny bit. He's like hiding behind kids, and you get that
Yeah,
like ridiculous image of John Cena's giant body hiding behind like a little kid.
they can't shoot him. And I really like this moment where he goes on the bench and he asks her like, "Was anything real? Like, do you have any feelings for him?" And she just says, "No, okay." And she's clearly like not completely telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But like she's mad and she's actually very mad. It's a very frustrating, egotistical person. To me, what's interesting is this is the second scene this season with John and Amelia on a bench in a park.
That's interesting, and they're like almost similar parks. They're like too good to be
Yeah,
true parks that are not what they seem. They're
yeah,
traps.
and he's asking her, "Do you have any feelings?" And that's interesting to me. I'm just curious how this whole thing works with Amelia. Like, what happens when she sees herself? Like, what were your overall thoughts on this scene?
Yeah, I'm really happy that it came down to something so personal for Chris. It wasn't like he came there to tell her off. He didn't come there to fight her. He just said like, I wanted to know if there's any point for me to stay at all. If she would have said, I have some level of feelings for you, Chris, you're right, he would not have probably left this universe, right? He probably would have stayed and tried to work it out with her. But finding out that she didn't care at all and then it meant nothing to her, it was what broke him, right? You can see in his face that really hurt him. It wasn't just something he thought was fun to do, or if he didn't like just kind of think she was hot or whatever. He really had feelings for her. And to find out that she seemingly didn't just really broke him and seemed like it was the last straw. Like once he shows up to Rick Flagg Sr. in this next scene, and he's not even resisting. He's not even fighting back at all. He's letting Rick Flagg Sr. just beat the shit out of him. And I think a lot of that comes from this scene, because this breaking of his heart was when I think he gave up on this reality. He said, I'm just going to leave now.
Yeah. And I thought he really sold that scene really good. His acting was like very good here. Like it's shocking how good he really is in these shows. Like he sells the comedy, but he sells the drama like just as well.
And I think Harcourt's character, this is part of why I think it was good to insert this retcon of her with Rick Flagg Jr. is because it adds a lot of interesting conflict here. Because it's not only that she doesn't want to open up her feelings, it's she doesn't want to open up to him, right? He's the one person I'm not supposed to have these feelings for, and yet I do. And she's having to reckon with that internally. It's very interesting. And I think it's going to be her arc over these next couple episodes that I think is really what we end up following more than even Peacemakers. I think she's going to be starting to realize how she truly feels and what affects her, what this toxic masculinity that they described, what that is in her.
Yeah, like when does that toxic, I think that toxic masculinity will come into play when she meets herself. Like,
yeah, and I think she's going to recognize like, maybe this toxicity is what's holding me off from recognizing how I feel about Chris, right? Maybe this barrier I have up, hiding away from my feelings is probably what's holding me away from actually being happy. That she could find that through Chris, through realizing that she maybe does have some feelings for him. Even if she doesn't see it in herself, she sees it in a different version of herself. She sees some other version of myself could love Chris, so maybe I could too.
Yeah, then we have this stuff in Argus and some, I guess, office workplace comedy like The Office or The Paper with John Economos, the man himself, and even have a part where he's like peeking over the thing, kind of like Rick Flagg was. I thought I think all the comedy with John Economos this season has actually been better than last season. Honestly, I really like that part where he's like, we need to put in a thing where we're arresting him so people know. and then that joke that I mentioned earlier, where they're like, "What the hell?" And then Tim Meadows is like, "Good job, that was the right thing to do." Um,
And is that even a joke? Because you described it as a joke, but to me that was that character revealing that he actually has a soul. He can recognize what is the right and wrong thing to do. Like he puts up his front as a joker, but like he recognizes that Ginger Cool did the right thing in that moment, and I think he's like being genuine when he says that.
yeah, but it is funny because what we've seen from him in the last several episodes.
I don't know. I thought it was like straight up not a joke. Like I thought it was meant to be like a serious scene. Like you're recognizing that this guy he's goofy, but he actually has a heart.
Yeah. Well, then we have this scene that James Gunn has been teasing. Peacemaker and Rick Flagg Sr. finally meet, and we have this fight. And it's not a fight. It's you just brutally assault him, and I guess there's no cameras in here. I mean, I'm not an expert. I don't know what the government is like, but like there probably should be cameras. Like he could deactivate them, but like there's got to be cameras in a room like that, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting that people are just kind of standing around knowing what he's doing in there, but kind of just letting him do it. But yeah, you're also seeing people like John Economos on the outside recognizing like this guy's going too far. We've got to do what we can within our power to stop him. But yeah, he hyped up this fight scene. I wonder if this is actually the scene he was hyping up, or if there's going to be like another Rick Flag versus Peacemaker actual fight that he was like a surprise or something. But it is definitely gory. Like it's not a fight in the traditional sense, but it is shocking. Like you're seeing Peacemaker just get pummeled, and in terms of like comic books and movies and DC, like you don't really see the main character just straight up get their ass kicked and like blood all over them, and really like their body's broken afterwards. Like Peacemaker can barely walk. He doesn't just lose; he gets destroyed, and his own morale is crushed in that moment. And yeah, like I said, it's interesting that he's not even fighting back. Like at this point, he's already given up on himself. He already hates himself, and he's already like, go ahead and beat me up because I don't care anymore. I already hate myself. It doesn't matter.
And then Bordeaux walks in, but she's fine with it. She's like, I would have been okay with the murder, And I think that's interesting. And we have this shocking reveal that I mean, there wasn't much to the character. I didn't know what the point of her. I guess they have this reveal that she's a cyborg. She has this thing with her eye, like funnily enough, I only just realized this until now the connection of um I'm Joel Kinnaman. Sorry, blink for 1 second. Joel Kinnaman was in the RoboCop remake.
Oh wow!
And now she's a cyborg. But yeah, they have this reveal that she's a cyborg, and I don't know what to make of this. I mean, it's interesting. Are they going to do something with that? I'm curious what the purpose of that reveal is. What are your thoughts on this reveal?
I mean, she is a cyborg in the comics, but it is like I didn't even really know this comic book character prior to this. But it is interesting. I wonder what they're going to do with that because she's clearly like on the side of the wrongdoers in some sense. Like she's not in the side of our team. She's clearly working for this like the fascist side of this thing. She's going to be kind of like the devil on Rick Flag's shoulder. It seems like guiding him kind of in the wrong path. She's clearly bloodthirsty and very like ready to kill. Able to kill. It's going to be fun to see when that cyborg powers are unleashed.
I know she's a Batman character in the comics. I wonder if they're setting her up to be an antagonist for Batman in the future.
Yeah, we've gotten Gotham name dropped once or twice so far. Yeah. I wonder if she'll show up.
Yeah, Gotham so far, season 1 is DCU, so it was dropped in season 1 at least once. Then you see the sign in Superman, and now here. So they're like, Gotham exists. We're in full on in the DC universe, and I'm curious. It's interesting that she's on the side of the fascists because there has been criticism of Batman saying that like Batman is essentially fascistic. So that was interesting to me. But yeah, I'm curious what they'll do with her in the future.
Yeah, I'm really curious about her relationship with Rick Flagg Sr. They have that really odd scene where she says it's called back to the opening sequence. She calls him sir and says, "Thank you, sir," or something along those lines, and he corrects her and says, "No, Rick," and she gives him almost like this seductive smile. At least to me, it felt like, a seductive smile. She wanted to have some kind of like sexual relationship with these two characters.
A sexual relationship with a cyborg. That would be interesting. That would certainly be interesting.
And Rick Flagg is clearly motivated by like pure vengeance. He's like, no, I'm not motivated by vengeance. I wanted to trick Chris into thinking I was motivated by vengeance. And
did he actually say that?
That was his line. Yeah, he said, he essentially, she challenges him and says, why did you attack him like that? And he says, I want to throw him off. I want him to think that I'm blinded by vengeance and I'm actually not. And
what?
And says like, oh yeah, Judo Master is going to track Peacemaker to his house and show us where he is going, where we need to be. And he is kind of right. Like that works. His plan does work. Peacemaker, in his like delusions and in his defeat, just kind of literally takes him to exactly where they have to go, and they're just kind of barely too late, right? But yeah, I don't believe him. I think he actually is guided by vengeance. I think he hates Peacemaker, and he's making up this excuse of, oh, it's for the betterment of the country, it's for the betterment of the people, but really it's for the betterment of himself and his ego, and he can't let it go. He can't just give up the fact that this bad thing happened. He has to have vengeance. He has to keep the violence going, and he's going to make up whatever excuse he can to keep his petty revenge going. It feels like commentary on today's world, if you're asking me.
And what was the next scene after this? Was it Michael Rooker?
Yeah, I think we should go from there to the Eagly hunting scene.
Oh boy. Yeah, so Michael Rooker is back, and he has this hilariously long thing on his gun that is just, I mean, talk about like comic booky. Like that's something you'd see in a comic book.
Yeah, this character is truly absurd, and it feels so bizarre that he's in this episode. He feels out of place because it really doesn't fit with the actual like story of what's going on at all. It's just like this random other scene that's happening.
No, I wanted to see him be the one who follows him into more. Like, what happens when this guy just walks out into the street in that other universe?
Yeah, I want to see. He would probably love that reality. He'd be like, "This is my perfect place to go."
Yeah, he'd be like, "This is awesome." He'd be like, but this sequence was incredible. I mean, when he shoots Eagly, I'm like, whoa, wait a second. No, that didn't actually. Wait, what? What the hell? And then you hear the eagle, and then you see the eagle, no. and then Eagly himself is there, and he is what is it like the prime being or whatever?
Yeah, he calls him the Prime Eagle, and Eagly literally has like this big like Avatar, the Last Airbender style like magical powers behind him, and has like laser eyes, and I can't wait to see this be explored because they clearly introduced this for a reason. It's not going to be a one scene gag. Eagly has straight up superpowers, and that's insane because we haven't seen it before. But I feel like they're going to stick with that, and we've got to get Eagly versus Crypto at some point, right? I'm waiting for that. And Man of Tomorrow and Justice League or something along those lines. You've got to see Eagly and Crypto battle it out.
They'll fight, and then they'll come back together. They'll come together, and they will defeat Brainiac.
Doomingly.
They will defeat Brainiac. Imagine 20 Eaglys and 50 Cryptos defeat Brainiac. But yeah, that was legitimately like one of the best moments of the entire series. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this season to give us something truly crazy. And I was thinking, oh, is it going to be this character? Is it going to be that character? Is it going to be this alternate Earth? And then it turned out to be Super Eagly with laser eyes and magical powers. And they just maul Michael Rooker to death. Like this whole gang of various eagles and birds shows up and just pecks to death Michael Rooker. And a very brutal death, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally being... Yeah.
It's not the only brutal death, though, in the scene. I want to talk about this interesting decision that James Gunn seems to go back to a lot, which is animal violence for the sake of shock. And he does it in this very intensely. He has this scene where Michael Rooker's character poisons this mouse or this rat, some kind of creature in the woods, and sends it out to be eaten by Eagly, and Eagly is trying to warn this other animal, like, don't eat this poison rat, don't eat this poison rat, and the animal doesn't listen to him, eats the poison rat, and then the animal dies on camera, very, very brutally, just kind of like barfs up acid and dies. And I don't know if it's played for a joke or if it's played to like really amp up the threat of this character, but it's interesting that Eagly is so aware that he's almost trying to like communicate with this other bird. It is fun, and I like seeing that. I like seeing Eagly actually trying to save someone and trying so desperately to save this bird, and just it doesn't care. But yeah, that was definitely a brutal death. I was pretty surprised to see such a brutal animal death. What'd you think of that scene?
I don't know what to make. I was confused at first. Like, he injects the rat. Like, what was the purpose of that? Was that to bring him back to life, or like to poison it so Eagly would eat it? Like,
Yeah, it was definitely a poisoning, right? Because
okay,
it was like like he poisoned the rat, hoping Eagle would eat it. The other animal ate it and then dies viciously. He tried
yeah,
to get the Eagly the easy way. Eagly is not falling for that.
yeah. I don't understand why he has to keep going back to, like, he has guardians, like, he has sympathy, right? Like, he loves animals, but then he also has all this violence against animals. And I do not see a lot of people criticizing him for this. And it's very clear. I mean, and he has a tendency for violence in general. Like you have to have Crypto like brutally attack Lex Luthor, and it's a great scene. But it's like, why? Like, why is, like, Superman is supposed to be a force for good, and Crypto is just like brutally murdering. It's just bizarre. I don't like it. I don't like when you kill animals for shock value in general. Like, you know, Alien Earth does that same thing, and it's just really, I'm just not a fan of that at all. I did love the sequence, of Crypto, but Eagly, but yeah, not a fan. Now, Eagly's definitely better than Crypto, right? Like, at this point.
Yeah, this sequence for me, Eagly has got to be one of the best like DCU characters in terms of this new DC universe that James Gunn introduced in his last couple projects. Eagly's proven himself to be one of the best, right? I've had a great time watching him.
And now that we know he has superpowers, virtually invincible, like, I can't
Yeah,
wait.
what is this going to be like once he's unleashed? What does Eagly Unleashed look like?
Like, Eagly, like, imagine Eagly versus, like, Batman. Like, Eagly just fucking, like, destroys Batman.
I'm standing by my theory. We're gonna get a multiverse of Eaglies. I want to go through that door and find just like 100 of them. If this is the Prime Eagle and he has all these powers, let's see him fight off like all the other Prime Eagles, all the other variously powered
I love that it
Eaglies.
started out as just literally a joke, but no, it's not a joke. It's real. Like, he is the Prime being.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun to see those powers explored. You have any ideas of like what he could be doing with those? Any fun powers they could pull up for Eagly?
The ability to, like, just shoot kryptonite out of stealth. Like, they fight Superman. I don't know. I got no idea, but I'm looking forward to whatever we see from him in the future. Like, what will happen with Eagly? Other universe.
I never think we'd walk into these last 3 episodes and all we'd be talking about is how cool Eagly is. But Eagly like stole the whole episode in that moment.
Well, and then we have him opening the portal and going. He's leaving. He's going to this other universe, and Judo Master is following him and watching him, and he has no reception on his phone, so he leaves a note and walks through the portal, and Adebayo walks in the room right when that happens at the last second, and the portal closes. And this was very interesting. I never in a million years would have thought that Judo Master would follow him in that universe. And
yeah, I really like how they're subverting those expectations and not in like crazy ways. You got to bring in some other character from some other TV show or whatever. It's just one of the core cast members that you would never have expected to be the one following him. And I'm really curious to see how it wraps up. And yeah, it's also an interesting subversion because typically like a character diving into the multiverse would be like a victory moment. You'd be like, here we go. We're about to see, David Cornsweet. We're about to see Robert Pattinson. It's going to be so cool. But this is just like a sad moment. He's going off to the universe and we're just depressed. He's clearly at the lowest point of maybe his entire life. And he's going off to be the worst version of himself. In like an MCU version of this movie, we'd all be clapping and cheering, ready to see this multiverse. But in this version, we're just sad, right? Because he's leaving behind the world that he knows, the people that he knows, for a fantasy that's not his own.
Yeah, he's going off to a universe where, like, Judo Master's not white, and this could be like a Nazi world. Like, he's going off to a universe where, like, he could literally just be killed.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this all plays out. Yep, because Peacemaker is going to still be at the top of his game, but is he going to start seeing people like Judo Master be the victims of this society and start to realize he's on the wrong side.
And what happens when he ultimately has to turn on his family?
And I really also like the scene where he essentially leaves a suicide note, right? Like he's reading off the suicide note. We're seeing all of his friends and family react to the fact that he's gone, especially Vigilante. He has a moment where, for the first time in the show, he shows some real, genuine human emotion. He breaks and he cries because the one person who actually took him seriously and understood him was gone, right? Just you thought that he cared so little about him that he would leave. And I thought that was a great moment for Vigilante, who typically is a kind of one-note character, a fun character, but not somebody who necessarily has a ton of depth to him. But this shows that he has that there.
Probably the best moment of the character.
Yeah, absolutely. And a great performance from the actor as well. I really liked what he was able to do without even having to say anything necessarily, just crying in the arms of his friend.
And they ask her here, Harcourt, is it true that you did that? And she says, well, yeah, but like I actually did it to save him. And like, sure she did, but I think when she's punching him, that's real. Like, she's really mad. She's really angry. So I think that part was definitely real.
Yeah, she's telling herself it was all a bit, it was all a plan, but how much of it really was, how much of it was just an emotional reaction. And it's also interesting, we cut to her face when Chris reads that line saying, I'm going to tell Harcourt yes, and I'm going to work on this. It cuts to our Harcourt, and she's clearly reacting to that moment of like, oh, he's leaving because of me. And that's going to be something she has to deal with in these next few episodes, is feeling guilt. Like, I think all of his friends are going to feel some level of guilt. Like, am I the one who pushed Chris to leave? Could I have changed this? All of them at some point could have intervened and stopped Chris along his path, but none of them did, right? They're going to have to face some guilt for that, I think.
Yeah. Anything else we haven't talked about?
I want to talk about Judo Master. I want to see some theories. He in this episode or in this universe, he's obsessed with eating chips, eating snacks. What's his obsession going to be like in the alternate universe? Is he going to be a health nut? He's not eating junk food. He's always eating like keto and shakes and kale and that kind of stuff.
Always drinking like a green shake. Like he's just always got one with him.
Constantly chugging protein powder.
And maybe he's a different. Is it a different form of self-defense now?
Oh yeah, and this he's Karate Master or something.
Yeah, Karate Master. Imagine he's running a dojo, and there's like hundreds of people come to the dojo. You got Paul Walter Hauser showing up there for some reason, and then he reprises that character role in Supergirl.
The entire Cobra Kai cast shows up.
Martin Kove just shows up to go, no mercy.
I want to talk about this last sequence where we're seeing Chris in his alternate universe seemingly living his best life. There's an interesting scene where they're showing a news sequence and it says top trio kills a kaiju, and they show like the aftermath of a fight with a kaiju. And I wondered if this was the same kaiju we see in Superman, and without Superman there to protect them, he gets killed.
Yeah, no, it's not. It is definitely a different kaiju.
A different kaiju?
Yeah, it actually looked more like monstrous here.
James Gunn's really leaning into like the kaijus and the monsters and like the big kind of creatures. It's really interesting to see that because I think it differentiates him from stuff like the MCU, which is typically pretty grounded and like militarized in its action and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we're straight up just having like monsters and magical eagles and stuff.
And also like I blanked out. Sorry.
That's all right. Well, we're at the end of the episode itself. We're talking a little bit about theories now because we've gotten through this first preamble of the show. What do you say?
Yeah, no, I remember. I was just going to mention that this phase 1 is supposed to be called like Gods and Monsters, so it makes sense. And I wonder how much they lean into like what is the God referencing?
Yeah, because we've had a lot of monsters, and I wonder who are going to be the gods.
Yeah, Brainiac.
Yeah, we still got to catch up on Brainiac. I'm still kind of sold on the Brainiac theory. We haven't gotten a lot of fuel for it in the last couple episodes, but I think it's still out there. We're about to get to those last 3 episodes, though. James Gunn's been hyping up these last 3 like all season, saying just wait till you get to the last 3. They're like a movie. They're going to be so awesome. They're going to be so great, and we've finally gotten there. We've gotten through some of these slower episodes. some of these setup episodes.
Like Brainiac is definitely already cast. Like if he is the villain of Man of Tomorrow, I've seen some people say that Michael C. Hall would be good in that role. I don't think that will happen, but yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Wasn't a ton to talk about.
Yeah, we've covered the whole episode itself. Do you have any theories you want to bring up for anything that could be happening in these last three? That you mentioned to set up the villain for Superman. Do you think there's anything they could do in here that could introduce stuff like that?
I mean, I'm still leaning towards Brainiac, but not much to predict. Like based on this episode. Oh, we have the theory. There's a theory that's been brought up that device he uses to travel with the portals could be the DCU's version of a mother box.
Yeah, I absolutely think that device is going to be really important. They've been making a big statement to show it a lot and make sure we know who has it and where it is all the time.
And so, yeah, I'm really curious. I do think that if we get like a mother box, it'll be a more like, comic booky thing. Like they're leaning so hard into that, like monsters and not realism. Like the opposite of the MCU, which I really like and really like appreciate. Like I want to see Batman straight up like fighting Killer Croc, and he's huge. Like I want to see Batman fighting Bane. He's got to jump on top of him. Right? Like I don't want Tom Hardy. Like I don't want realistic Bane. I want Bane.
For me, I lean away from the mother boxes right now, just because that was the centerpiece of the DCEU, right? Like that was what linked BVS and Suicide Squad and all that together. I don't think they're going to go back to the exact same connective tissue that was in the last one. I feel like that might just feel too similar. I'm curious though, because he's leaning so heavily into the fantasy side, like the monsters and the creatures. Is Brainiac really going to fit there? Like Brainiac is such a technically based character. Does he fit in the gods and monsters style DC? I don't really know. Are they going to do like a tech versus like fantasy kind of thing? That could be a weird collage of tones and stuff, but that's where my questions go is like, if this is going to be a gods and monsters, big fantastical creatures, are they really going to go Brainiac? And Brainiac is not like a deep cut, right? James Gunn loves deep cuts. Brainiac is like the least deep of cuts. Like there's Lex Luthor, there's Zod, and then there's Brainiac. That's not. But
he's also a major Superman villain that I think they will want to use. So I think he will. If he wasn't used here, he would be used like not far in the future. So I think James Gunn can find a way to make him fit into that.
Yeah, I definitely think these next three are going to give us something large in scale of the DC universe. You said that Peacemaker is a setup for Man of Tomorrow. We haven't really seen any of that, right? Like we've seen little bits of world building here and there with Argus and that kind of stuff, but we haven't seen anything that I would say, oh, so here's a setup for Superman. Now I get why you said that, right? I still haven't seen anything in this yet where I'm like, oh, now I get why this is Superman. Man of Tomorrow is prequel, essentially. So we will get something.
Yeah, well, I think that's good. I think that's good for this.
Yeah, I had a really good time with this episode. I'm looking forward to next week. James Gunn is back in the director's chair. I think we'll see a return of some high energy for the season here. And yeah, if we're gonna start seeing cameos, I'd probably predict them to be in the James Gunn directed episodes, because those are the ones that are going to be more, I think, tied to the larger DCU.
So he directed the next episode.
The next episode and also the finale.
Okay, so we are in it.
We're definitely in it. Yeah, I had a really good time with it. I'm hoping we see more Rick Flagg Jr. I was happy to see him in that one episode, but I'm kind of bummed we haven't seen more of him. I want to get him like throughout the season,
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. That finale I think is going to be incredible.
The next episode is called Ignorance is Chris. It comes out on the 25th. Written and directed by James Gunn. Ignorance is Chris makes me feel like they're going to start pulling back the layers of that multiverse in Chris's mind. He's going to start realizing this perfect world is perfect in his brain, but it's not as perfect as it might seem, especially when his friends start to come in and see it from a different perspective. Maybe he's going to realize, this isn't quite not what I see, not what it seemed to me.
One ignorance is Chris after another. Can't wait.
It's going to be a really fun episode, yeah. And like I said, we're going to be covering it next week right after it airs. So if you wanted to check it out check out our thoughts next week once we start kicking up the last three. Definitely come back next week and check that out. We're going to be reviewing all kinds of stuff on the channel. We're going to be reviewing one battle after another. Michael reviewed Conjuring. Michael's going to review the horror movie Him that just came out this tonight, actually. You should check that out on the channel. Yeah, I really had a great time with the episode. Looking forward to next week. Give us more of the multiverse of Eaglies. I want to see Eagly unleashed. We got the tease of Eagly's potential this week. So I want to see full-blown Eagly. Give me all the Eagly you can get next week. I want all 3 episodes, nothing but Eagly.
Wait, what if they inject Eagly with something where he gets big and he becomes literally a kaiju for a scene or so?
Oh, God, that would be crazy.
That would be absolutely incredible. And he just stomps on Argus.
Just steps on them all.
Yeah. So thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you all next week.
Until then, eat peace, assholes.